All right, you guys, I am so excited to have our very special guest speaker on tonight, Kristine. Kristine and I met, so just a little backstory. We were at the elite reception at Summit right before Summit started, and we just got to talking on they like shuttle you to and from the location. So we just got to talking on the bus ride home, and we just had a great conversation and clicked and stayed connected. And this is really what I love so much about Beachbody is just the connecting you to make with other coaches in other places in the country on other teams that you can learn from and connect with. So we just our exchange team calls. I hosted one for her last week, and we get to have her here with us this week. So I'm so excited. But I want to tell you a little bit about her. She's going to go into her story tonight, kind of about the beauty of longevity within Beachbody. And the reason she's speaking on this topic is because she's been a coach for 10 years with Beachbody. She is a 6-time elite coach. She has been Success Club for 116 months in a row. She's married to her husband, Lincoln, for 27 years, so she knows the longevity in marriage as well. And then they have a son, Lincoln, who's 15. So thank you, Kristine, for being with us tonight. I'm going to mute myself and let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, guys. I have to tell you, because I'm kind of, because I'm an old timer, a lot of people don't know who I am, and that's okay by me. That's really okay. It's almost a little bit better. So when I get asked to speak on a team call, I am very flattered and I'm very humbled. And I come, Kinsey had slides last week, and I messaged her. I'm like, I don't do that. I just speak from the heart. I'm very real. I kind of shoot from the hip. I put one note for my call tonight, and that was it, because I just kind of, this is who I am. So I think it's very powerful. I think our story as coaches is they're very powerful, and I love sharing stories with my team. And I just tell them a lot of times that I may not be in your shoes, but I know a coach who has been. Because I think the power in our story, you can think that you're so alone in a certain situation, and then you hear someone else and the success that they've had, and you're like, well, okay, I can relate to them, and then I can see, okay, they were able to work through something, or they were able to do it, so therefore I can too. So my story and how I got to be a coach. So, okay, where do I start? I have suffered with a lot of depression and anxiety my entire adult life. And that's a lot of years. And a lot of what comes with that is not just the depression and anxiety, but you can also, it's just, you have very, very low self-esteem. You're a constant people pleaser, worried constantly about what other people think about you, scared to speak your mind. And also on the other side of that was a lot of negativity. I was very bitter. I was very jealous. I just was one of those people that was just, look at someone else and think they had it made, and no one understood my depression. And then I was embarrassed by it, and lots of ups and downs. And it kind of reared its ugly head about 11 years ago. I had hit complete rock bottom. I was in a complete darkness, fog. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You just feel like some days I was crawling out of my skin. Other days I didn't get out of bed. You just feel absolutely horrible. I was like just barely getting through the days, heavily self-medicating. And my son was 4 at the time, and I was just not in a very, very good place. And that can catch up to you because you're affecting your family. And my husband was done. So he left me a note one morning. I woke up, and he basically told me to get out and go get help. So I was just standing there in my living room, and I just started sobbing, and I sat on the stairs, and I was like, what has happened? How have I gotten here? And it was absolutely horrible. So we had moved to Texas. And so we had just moved a few months before, and I didn't know a ton of people. So it wasn't necessarily like, hi neighbor, I've been going through this, in my house all this time. Can you help me? But I did have a college roommate that was about 5 hours away. She had gone through some mental health struggles herself. So she's like, you can come stay here. Let's figure something out. Which I was so grateful. So to back up just a little bit, in those moments of my darkness, I was just mindlessly scrolling Facebook, and I did see a post about an accountability group. So I was somewhat familiar with Beachbody. You hear of it. I heard of Shakeology, the workouts, but I didn't really know a ton. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'll join. And I'm not proud of this, but I was probably drunk when I, said I was going to join the challenge group. So I got my challenge pack, and I got my first bag of Shakeology. And I always say it's by the grace of God, and it makes me emotional to this day, that it was Les Mills Pump. And I don't know if any of you guys know the DVD, but it came with like the bar. So you had to put weights on it. So it wasn't just, I was taking 10-pound weights in my car. I was I took the bar with the adjustable weights and my Shakeology. I don't know what clothes I packed, but I remember my DVDs, I remember my Shakeology, and I remember my weights. So I went 5 hours away and I stayed with my friend for 5 weeks and I did outpatient treatment. Now, mind you, like my husband had nothing, he didn't want anything to do with me at the time. So I was doing this basically on my own. I was very hidden. And I'll get back to the social media thing in a minute. So basically I went and I did 5 weeks of outpatient treatment. And my first day I walked in, they diagnosed me bipolar. So from that day, like they immediately changed my medication, and just, tons of evaluation, doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, all these people just talking to you, trying to get background information. So I started doing that for 5 weeks. So I would get up every morning, I would press play, I would drink my shake, I would go to therapy, press play, drink my shake, go to therapy, did it for 5 weeks. And honestly, I came out a completely different person. I was okay. I was not ashamed of my diagnosis. It was almost like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I was like, this explains a lot, just, I could tell already just talking and working through everything and getting on the right meds helped. And also obviously exercising consistently. I fell in love with Shakeology. I didn't know what it was doing to my body, but I'm like, this stuff is magical. And I felt really good. I felt confident. I felt like this is who I am. I no longer felt like this. I was happy. And I know it sounds so weird, but I really felt good about who I was, and I was okay with who I was. And I came home, and obviously we had work to do. And I mean, it was the hell that we were in, such in a good place. We're so good right now. Thank you, Jesus. But I came home and I was like, okay, not only do I feel great, but I love what this has done for me. I want to do this and I want to share this with other people. Now, mind you guys, I was a month shy of 40. I had worked, had all the jobs, never had a passion for anything, could not figure out how people loved their jobs so much. I just went to work and went through the motions. So to not only feel good about who I was and feel confident in me, but to find something I liked that I wanted to do was so new to me. So I went to my coach and I said, I want to do what you do. And I tease her to this day. I'm like, if you didn't have to ask, think about like how many times did your coach have, good God, how many times do you have to invite someone for them to maybe like even watch the video or get a sneak peek, right? She didn't have to ask me. I went to her. So that was August 3rd of 2012. Oh my gosh. And so I was a month shy of 40. So when someone says they're too old, that's a load of crap. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now. I mean, I'm going to be 50 in a couple of weeks and I'm still coaching and I'm not going anywhere. So the first few months, I was just happy. I was like riding my unicorn over the rainbow, and I was feeling good and doing my thing. But I wasn't really like, I was kind of talking to people here and there, she's like, sign your husband. I signed the husband. The training back then was so basic. I did the training. I did it in a hotel room because our house caught fire. So when people say they don't have time, yeah, that's a whole other story. But my point is, she's like, do the training. I'm like, I'm in a hotel for a week because I can't live in my house. And I just remember like, no one knows, the training was hilarious back then. Like you got a little certificate you printed off from the coach online office. And, she got to Emerald, whatever. I did all that stuff. But it wasn't until my first super weekend. So that was January 2013. My coach, she's in Indiana, I'm in Texas. So she wasn't here. I was just very coachable, still to this day. She said, go to a super weekend. I didn't know what that was, but I went. Dallas has a very large Beachbody population, whatever you want to call it. So when I went, there's probably 800 people in the room and I was by myself. I didn't know one soul. I was still so green. I didn't know who like Melissa McAllister was, or, all these people that are in the Dallas area. I didn't know his name. So I didn't know I was around a bunch of important, super cool people. I just sat in that room and I watched the corporate video and I saw this thing, Carroll. I didn't even know who Carroll was. Like, I didn't even know it was like Carroll Daikeler, CEO. I guess, I guess that's our CEO. And who's that Michael guy's pretty funny. Okay, like I didn't know anything, but they talked about Success Club. And they showed that really cool trip. And I said, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to go home and figure it out. I used to think Shalene was sorry. That's amazing. That's awesome. But so I went home and I said, I don't know what Success Club is, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to figure it out and I'm never going to miss again. And it was just something that I made that decision when I went home. And that was literally 116 months ago. And it's just something that I do. I don't think about it. I just do it. And actually with that, I just a side note, I don't know if you guys, any of you listen to Do Your Crap podcast by Micah Folsom. It's called Do Your Crap. And she does one once a week. And to be honest, I haven't listened to it in a while because I just get kind of sidetracked with what I'm listening to. But one of my coaches sent it to me, and she did a podcast last Monday about Success Club specifically. And it was very interesting. And she just talked about everybody gets so focused on Success Club. And, I know when I talk to my team, they sometimes roll their eyes. I'm like, you guys are missing the point. It's not just hitting that number. It's that number is lives impacted. And that's what I've said for years. Like when I recognize Success Club on social media, I say, these are not just numbers. We don't have quotas, but benchmarks of how many people we can help. So each point is a life impacted. And she said Success Club is just a byproduct of what we should be doing anyways. So I thought that was just very, it makes sense. And so to me, being so green and not knowing anything about what I was doing, I just made that decision to do it. And it's almost ingrained to me. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, or once you start working out, it just becomes like brushing your teeth. To me, Success Club is just like brushing my teeth. It's just something I do. I don't have to think about it. And with that said, because I know we're talking like, however, my story and longevity, I have to make this very clear to people. To this day, and you're probably like, well, crap, you're a buzzkill. People don't come to me. People do not come to me. Very, very rarely. When they do, I'm floored. Like, I'm honestly shocked. I have to work to this day, just like I did in the very beginning. And I'm okay with that because I say one of these days, I'm going to figure it out. And then I'm going to have people in my inbox. But what I make sure to do is that I am in their inbox. All right. My social media is not fancy. It's horrible. If I were to look at myself, I'd be like, but I'm transparent and I'm very real. And so talking about the mental health, I actually had like a really bad setback last week, and I haven't felt that bad in a really, really long time. And it threw me for a loop. And then my dog ate a rock. So we had to have emergency surgery, and then she ended up in the hospital. And so like Friday, the 40, so I was like feeling really bad. And then she got super sick, didn't know why. And so anyways, so I want to tell you through the seasons, like with my mental health, I have to, I see a psychiatrist every 3 months. I have to do that they monitor my meds, because in order for me to get my prescription refilled, they have to do that. I'm very diligent and I stay on top of my mental health. And most of the time I'm stable because I do. I think just also it's common sense. You work out, and listen, I like to have fun. Don't get me wrong. I like to have a really good time. So I like to have fun. So I'm not like this little rigid person over here that doesn't have any fun, but I also know that working out and like eating healthy is very important to my mental health as well. So I do have to stay on top of it and be very careful, because like last week, it was the snap of a finger. And I was just like emotionally kind of shut down, and it lasted a lot longer than I'm used to, but I'm still like, I didn't disappear. I'm going to tell you, I didn't post like I should, and I didn't invite like I should, but something else I heard too. So these are the two things I wrote down. Like, you're going to have setbacks, whether it's in your business or in your mental health or in your life. And someone said this on a national wake up call last year, if you build your shelter when the sun is shining, then it doesn't affect you in the way that if you were just constantly playing defense. So because I've had those pockets in my life that I've worked very hard in my business and stayed consistent, I can have a few days where things suck and I don't want to talk to anybody and I don't want to post on social media, because the idea of doing a reel and, I posted and I said, I'm having a crappy time. And I made it honest. And then I took a few days and just kind of figured myself out. And then the dog ate a rock. So it was kind of like, but it didn't completely derail me, because of when I feel good and doing those things in that time. I think that's a blessing of coaching, is that when we do that, and then if something pulls us away, whether it's just a shot of depression you hadn't felt in forever or life, then you're not screwed, for lack of a better term. So that, seriously, I told Kinsey, I'm in and out. Like, that's my story. I am still here. I don't plan on going anywhere. My husband literally just posted today. He's been supportive of me since the beginning. He understands the business model now. That's a whole other conversation. He literally just posted tonight he's going to start coaching. So he's been a coach almost as long as me. And he just put it out there. And he's like, it was the talk at Summit when Dave Adkins and they all talked, and he looked at me, he goes, I no longer want to be a supportive husband. I want to be a coach. So I was like, okay, been waiting. And tonight he posted, and I'm like, son of a gun. Okay. I'm like, now you better be ready, because you posted it, put it out there. So again, it's never too late. So anyway, that's it. That's me. That's where I was. It is because of Beachbody. Literally, when people say it changes your life, it literally changed my life. I don't know. It saved my marriage. It saved me. It saved my marriage. And here I am 100 years later. So
I don't think that story could have come at a better time for so many of us on this team. So I so appreciate you sharing all of that and being so open about it. And especially for people who haven't struggled with necessarily clinical anxiety or depression. I think we live in a very anxious world now where we struggle with a lot of that. And like you said, it's okay to take a step back, but don't retreat and don't go silent, and to lean into your team who is there to love you and support you too. I love that.
Yes.
I have a quick question while everyone is getting ready to ask their questions.
Yes.
I was curious, when you say like you're still working in your inbox, like you're the one going, I mean, you're working in other people's inboxes, you're going and you're finding your people. What's your method to your madness? Like what do you do on a daily basis? I mean, you're maybe like me that you don't have, that's okay. I don't have a method to my madness all the time, but are you following up with people who engage with your reels, or what are you doing? Hashtag.
Okay, so here's something else I'm working on too. So Instagram is my nemesis. You guys, I am putting it all out there. I am so transparent right now. Like I don't follow other coaches. So and Kinsey, I'm honestly watching you too much because you're too cute. It was so funny. Like I was talking to a coach at Summit and we know each other. And we're like, how are you? And she's like, I'm so sorry I don't follow you. I'm like, I don't follow you either. You know, it just because it takes time away from my job. So, you know, but when Kinsey and I met, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. I just want to watch her all day. And, you know, she's like doing her RV stuff and I'm cracking up at just like you camping and you're, I'm like, anyways, see, look, I'm getting distracted. But, so Instagram has always been my nemesis. So I'm still, but yeah, if anybody engages on my stories, but this is something I tell my team too, I don't get a ton of views, so I cannot count on that. My job is to go out and find the people. All right. And I'm going to tell you, and I know I'm older than a lot of you, I still use Facebook a lot too. Like, you know, I just do because to me, and I was on a Success Club panel. We had Success Club 100 plus panel at our super weekend here, and there was three of us. I do not believe your warm market ever ends because you always know someone who knows someone who knows someone. In my husband's post tonight, he put, I don't know why I'm watching Kristine help these people. She's helped people from my elementary school, my middle school, my high school, and my college. So, well, you know, because I was connecting with people, connecting with people. So some of the people I get are people that I have just connected with. And then, yes, and I wish I could sit here and map out this perfect Instagram strategy that I have on how I connect and find the people, because honest to God, I'm still working on that. Micah has done a collections training on how to do that with Instagram. I think I've watched it 3 times and I still struggle. So I'm just telling you, my struggle is real. This year has honestly been really, really, really hard, but I also know it's because I'm not doing the things that I should be doing. Like I know I could, like I told my team yesterday, I could be a 15-star diamond coach if I actually did what I was supposed to do. And I've been doing okay, but I'm like, if I lived up to my full potential. So I know I kind of went off on a tangent there. And finding people, well, Kinsey even said it last week. You talked about how you ask for leads. I ask for leads and nobody will give them to me. But she said something on the National Wake Up Call and the way she approached it today that I thought was really good too. So I listened to National Wake Up Call. I'm taking frantic notes. Like I am still a student. I'm always a student. So the way I find people is pretty scrappy. If you want to know the truth, like one day I might like get on Instagram and look at accounts and, you know, I don't connect with people and invite them right away. When I start to meet people and have conversations, I can't tell you when that official invite happens. To me, it happens in my gut. Like when I feel like we're at a certain point in the conversation with someone, then it's just kind of like, hey, you see what I do, you know, and especially if they constantly watch my stories. First of all, I'm flattered because I'm like, you taking the time to watch me, I ain't that important, or I ain't that funny, or I ain't that whatever, but you know what I do. So I'm going to invite you, right? So it's just kind of depending on the person, depending on where I feel we are in the situation is when I send that invite. Does that help at all? Like, I don't, you know, some people are like, oh, I do this and then I do this. Oh, point of view. Yeah, you guys, it's almost embarrassing how I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants because I just go with my gut.
I think it's so
how I feel
to hear, because I think coaches sit there and they're like, gosh, I just don't have a system to follow. I'm like you. The timing just has to be right. There's no copy and paste message because my conversation is genuine with whatever person I'm talking to. But I just want to point out, this is what I just heard, if you guys didn't hear that.
Yes.
So Kristine has been a coach for 10 years. She's been elite 6 times. She is a hot mess, according to herself on social media. She has personal struggles. She hits Success Club every single month. She listens to the National Wake Up Call. She still shows up. So I just like, if you're sitting there waiting for your life to be perfect or for all the elements to fall into place, she hasn't waited for everything to fall into place because she's in control of what she does. Like, I was just like hearing all these things. I'm like, this is everyone. This is what we all need to hear more of, to be honest. I love it.
Well, good. I mean, that's what, and that's just it. I'm so transparent. Like Kinsey got on our call last week and because she's always looks cute. And I said, listen, I on purpose don't wear makeup. And I on purpose, like I'm wearing a bra. You guys are lucky I have a bra on tonight. All right, let's just go there because I want to be real. So I want people to see that I'm real. And something else I'm going to tell you is I'm still very coachable. My coach doesn't need to lead me anymore. She hasn't taken a step back. She's earned her stripes, right? So she's been coaching for 13 years and she's just at a point in her business. So I don't need her to tell me what to do. But when I say I'm being very coachable, like I said, I will never stop listening to the National Wake Up Call or personal development or humble myself, feeling like I don't need to be entitled. Why is no one coming to me? There's a reason no one's coming to me. And until I figure that out, I still have to do the work. You know, I still have to go into their inbox.
But even if they're not finding you, you're still finding your tribe either way, because you're still connecting.
Yes.
Yeah. You just have to do it on your own. And I think there's a lot of coaches out there like that. I think we see, gosh, Emily Favre, whoever with 100 million followers on social media platforms and think that it must just be easy for them. They also worked really hard to do whatever they're doing, but it doesn't mean that go ahead, Kristine.
No, I was going to say that. I'm like, I tell people they've earned that position. They earned that way to get to where they were. So they're, that's all I was going to say.
Candace, I think you were going to ask a question. I saw you unmute. Okay.
I was just going to compliment that. Like, I just liked how like real and like raw you are, because I think a lot of times when we get like guest speakers, it's like a scripted kind of thing. And I've just like appreciate it. So yeah, no, I'm just, thank you.
Like, thank you for thinking, I am. It's very interesting that you bring that up, because sometimes don't you wish that maybe on the National Wake Up Call, it'd be titled like, I don't know what I'm doing, but here I am.
Until you sit down with Sandy Buadonna and then she rips your whole thing to shreds. I'm just like, I think if she didn't curate it so much, it would be a lot more real, but they got to do what they got to do.
I guess they have to, yeah. So, but no, thank you for that. And I want to read it. You shouldn't need to handholding, the things to do, just coming down to doing it. I agree with that too. Biggest advice for coaches for struggling consistency to grow their biz. Okay. The biggest advice is, okay. So when you mean, where did she go? Okay. When you mean struggling to grow consistently with their business, like their own personal distractions, or they're really trying to grow it consistently and not having this, can you clarify the question?
For a while, and I know right now for me, even I'm still at Success Club too, and I'm gonna freaking make it happen no matter what. But I think right now our team's definitely in a season of like struggling to hit Success Club, struggling to sign coaches, like struggling to move their business forward. And I feel like everyone's feeling really discouraged. So I don't know if you had any like encouragement or advice on like how to keep that needle moving forward, even if it's little tiny steps.
Okay. So a couple things on that, because what do I do to spice up my power to keep it fresh? Okay, sorry. This is what happens. I can't look at the chat at the time. Here, so I talk about like, I think there's seasons in coaching, and I think supposedly something's going to happen at leadership, right? Kenzie, Carroll's going to talk about something. He talked about it at Summit. I don't know if you guys, I don't say like paid attention, or I'm not saying you didn't pay attention. Something's happening that's going to supposedly change the business. And I mean, I know this is recorded, and I think it does. I think there's a lot of changes that need to be made, hopefully positive. I think Success Club needs to change. I think a lot. I mean, that's been said for years. They need to make it different, because I know sometimes it's hard. August is always a hard season. Back to school, right? And so many distractions. Also, I think like someone brought it up the other day, it didn't even hit me. Like, this is kind of the first real normal year that we've had since COVID, right? Like, so really most of the kids are going, like everybody's like like the routines, the schedules, the sports, the craziness, all the things are happening that maybe people weren't used to for the past couple of years because things kind of slowed down. So I have to, and I will tell my team, I'm like, you just have to know, like, August is hard. I mean, I know it's almost over, so you're like, you're not helping me, but like, if you mentally prepare yourself for something, knowing you're going into like, so I know September, like, I look at my calendar, I'm like, what do I have going on? So I kind of try to strategize mentally what I need to do on the days where I have to be on, that I'm like, you got to be on. One thing that I do, and when I do it, I'm gonna say, last year, you guys, I sucked. I was horrible. I sucked, but I hit Success Club early in August. Well, because I wanted, anyways, it doesn't matter. When I set a timer to do my power hour, I'm a boss. I put on some music, and I don't put it on too loud because I like to do a lot of voice messages because you can tell I'm pretty hyper. And so I'm hoping that people hear I always tell them, I want you to hear my energy and I want you to hear my sincerity in my message, right? Because we can type the invite, but if they listen to your voice, so if I have the option on text or Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, then I will do the voice. And a side note, do yourself a favor. You know, on Facebook, I don't know if you've noticed it now, but there is not the 1 minute cutoff. Like, you can keep talking. Don't do that. Someone sent me an 8-minute message. Please cut off, like, watch yourself. Yeah. Who had, like, I had to wait 3 days. I'm like, I had to block off time. Because what if you get distracted? Then you have to start over again because you forget that you're listening, right? Are you with me? So do yourself a favor. Watch when you're talking and cut yourself off like at 1, because you can't listen to an 8-minute message. I know. I was like, I love you, but don't do that anymore. So I do that, but I think in a season of now. So I'm just trying to think of the best advice I can give. Okay, I've been down to the wire where it's been the last month of Success Club, and you have to look like why do you want to hit it? You know, do you want to hit it because it's just a number? I think you guys should all listen to that Micah Folsom podcast. It was really, really good and just kind of gave clarity. And there's always going to be struggle. And so I don't want to say like, there just is. And I agree. I think this year has been very, very different for the company. It's been a very, very hard year for me. And it's like, this year's not going to be like the last, and it's going to suck. And I'm eating some humble pie right now. And I know the year's not over, but it's just, I think things are so different. Pour into personal development. And I know you guys probably hate to hear that. I know my team wants to roll their eyes at me, but even in my suck, like last week, I just listened and read. Even if I set my alarm for 10 minutes and read. If you want to revisit, if you have not read Get Over Your Damn Self, I've read it 4 times and it kind of reminds you. So like for now, I would say if you're up against a wall for hitting Success Club the end of this month, number one, nothing else matters. So like to me, don't worry about the reel unless you feel like that gets you all these views and likes, and that's going to help you invite. But if it's going to get you like 9 likes, and I think my last one did, do not go to my social media right now. Good God, please don't do that to yourself. Don't waste your time. But like if that's going to help you invite, then go do it. But don't waste 20 minutes on trying to do a transition like I do. And then you get pissed off and you don't end up doing it anyways because you're so mad because you can't figure it out. But make sure and like go to an old list. Like sometimes I was cleaning up my desk, and I was cleaning up my desk yesterday. And I was like, son of a gun, here, you guys, I use a notebook. So I was like, sometimes I will just go through old notebooks that I found in my drawer and see who can I reach out to again? Like, who have I not? Oh, it was 3 years ago that I followed her. I don't even know what date this is. This was 5/27. And I'm just looking at, I could look at, I wrote a lot neater back then too, but I can go through and just like thinking about Success Club, think about right now, but when wanting to hit that goal, it's not the time to go build a new relationship, right? Go and talk to the people that you talked to. Go to that person you invited 6 months ago, or maybe I tell my new coaches this, be so honest about being messy and clueless. Like, so I'm not saying you're clueless, but say you felt like you sent the most uncomfortable invite to someone last month or 3 months ago. And you can go back and be like, Kenzie, 3 months ago, I told you about our boot camp or whatever you call it. I told you about the coaching opportunity. I know, just know I am still learning the ropes. I don't really know what I'm doing, and that might come off the wrong way, but I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying this community. I love the workouts. I'm feeling great. This community, I'm like, Shakeology is my jam. I feel great with it. Like, you need to get in here. Or if you know there's key points, like I always ask a lot of questions and I teach my coaches too. You can't help someone unless you know more about them. So like if you've listened to them and you hear their need, then you can remind them of what that need. And a lot of time I'm just like, you need to do this. Let's just do it already. Come on. And then I tell them what we're doing. And you guys, we have those promo codes. Like we have $20 off. I will tell people in my message, I will say, I literally say this. And again, I don't like, some days I say the value is utterly ridiculous. Sometimes I say, I can't believe they're doing this. It was so affordable to begin with, kind of thing. And I just makes them see what they're getting. And I always tell them, like, just give me 30 days. I say, if you don't get results in 30 days, you can block me on social media and we never have to talk again. And yes, I say that. Like, I just say the craziest things, because then it's like, yeah, it's so affordable to begin with. I feel like sometimes we undervalue what we offer. And here's something else. This is something else I've been doing a lot too. Doesn't mean it always works. Like, I think everyone should upgrade to a total solution pack. I don't know why they do. But with the increase in BOD, like if you guys do the math, like 1 year of BOD's like $119 right now. So they're basically getting a bag of Shakeology or performance, whatever. Yeah, $20. It's ridiculous. And I tell them, I'm like, I cannot believe, get something. I always remind them, I ask, how is your nutrition? How is your energy? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you it's not very good. And you're going to say, give something that actually might help a try. And then if you don't like it, you don't have to continue. And I would say, my hope is you fall in love with it like I did, because like, yeah. So yeah. Oh, thank you. So I do. I mean, I had to learn too. I used to word vomit, when someone wanted information, I would send them like 16 paragraphs and then never hear from me. I wonder why I never heard from them again, So I don't know, just right now to hit Success Club, I would focus on nothing else but conversations. Go back to people you've already talked to that possibly showed interest and maybe later. Remind them, kids and this and sports, say everyone's kids on the planet have gone back to school, not just yours. Kids are in sports, things, you can do this. I had 2 people that tried to tell me they could not work out because I'm pretty feisty. Again, I had 40 years of built up insecurity. So for the last 10, I've just been like, screw it. I can do what I want. With them, you know what I'm saying? Like, not, but I'm like, dude, you have 20 minutes. We've had a conversation going back and forth for 20 minutes about why you can't do something. And you could have done job 1. And I actually have 2 people doing it right now because I kind of said that to them. So does that help?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so much good stuff. And especially, I love what you said, just like, oh my God, it was so affordable to begin with. I cannot believe that they're giving $20 more off. Like, what the heck? Like, that's such simple wording. And it's true, it's what we all think. Like, it was already affordable.
Yes.
I love that. And yeah, how's your nutrition? How's your energy? That's really good too, because that steers you in multiple different capabilities.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Totally. It. I just love, like, you're right. Like, if you haven't hit Success Club this month, don't make a freaking reel. Don't spend your time on that. Reach out to the people who you've had conversations with. We had a really great call from Jake Story. He's from corporate. He runs the Canada. And his talk was on, and it was from another Canadian coach, but she talked about having the 10 in play, which is having your 10 people that you're always like going back and forth with. Not someone that's told you no, because then they go in your follow-up, and not someone who hasn't responded yet, but it's 10 people you're actively having a conversation with. And once one person either says no, I can send you the call, is really good. If they come off the list, you immediately fill their spot. So you always have 10 in play that you're talking to. So
I love, and that's not overwhelming.
No,
like that's not.
Mm-hmm.
I try to tell my team, helping 3 people a month, like, to me, if you want to earn an actual, like, real, you can't hit SC6 and earn a substantial income, right? But earning SC6 means you're consistently helping people, but SC6 is less than 1 person a week. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, there's 2 months this year I didn't hit SC10. I'm not gonna, my numbers are not high. They're never high. I'm not a high recruiter. I'm not a high fancy person. So yeah, so it's not like I'm sitting here saying, la, 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 because I'm not like SD 100. I mean, I don't even know what the highest I hit, but it sure as heck wasn't that. I'm very basic, but yeah, just go back to those people that you've talked to. They call it like your dirt list. I'm not gonna say I haven't had a favor, to be like, okay, Jill, like, this is what I tell people too. So maybe, when I say, Jill, you've wanted Shakeology for 6 months. If you order now, then you help me hit this goal. I have done that multiple times, and people want to help you. Okay. People want to help you. So I will say, if they're on the fence, I'm going to say, listen, I always put this out there that we do not have quotas. I think it's super important because, sometimes people think like, they don't know what we do. So therefore they're ignorant in their judgment of us, which annoys the crap out of me. That's a whole other conversation. But I will say, we don't have quotas, but if you were to order now, you're helping me hit a monthly goal. And that's super important to me. The company recognizes it. I'd be so appreciative. Like one of my coaches had like, how many of you have carts out and they never fill them out? And my coach had a really crazy week last week and she was so stressed out. And I said, she had 4 carts out. And I said, you go to each and every one of them and you say, listen, I know life is crazy. So is mine. This week is very demanding of my time. And so if you would fill out that cart, you would help me reach my goal for the month. And then that would be off my plate. I wouldn't have to worry about it. And we're going to get you started because I sent you the cart for a reason. So I said, go ask them, do me a favor, get it filled out so I don't have to nag you anymore on doing it. And then boom, I think she had like 2 carts filled out and, you know, like that. So don't be afraid to ask people for help, like, because you're helping them too, right? Like it's people helping people and people are like, sure. And I'm a follow-up psycho. So I will tell you that too. Like I will hunt you down. And so I'm going to say something too, because I said this on a call. I will single white female you until you enroll. Now, does anybody know what that means? Does anybody?
Yes. What? I can't think of what movie it's from. Well, I mean, it's from that movie, but
it's single white female.
Who's the actress? I'm trying to think.
Oh, I can't remember her name. But I said that once on a call and one of my coaches was like,
it's
what are you
basically where she
about?
goes psycho.
Yeah. And she's like, so it's single white female, but basically she like stalked and obsessed this girl. So my point is I will tell people, I will single white female you till you sign up. Like my greatest story is I had a girl and because I counted sometimes like, I'll look, oh, I messaged that girl 15 times before she even wrote me back once. Like someone is watching my stories and I will say, I will keep messaging you until you actually respond. Because why are you watching me? Again, I'm not that interesting. Like, you know, you could be watching Kinsey all day. She'll make you laugh. But I sent a cart and I did, you guys are like, you're psycho. I sent 27 follow-ups because I counted. She was a single mom that was a nursing student that works in a doctor's office and she just forgot. And she was with me for like 4 years. I'm not even kidding. She signed up for the discount, but she was was with me for 4 years. So it wasn't like I bugged her, she signed up and quit, but she just needed me to follow up with her that many times because her life was crazy. So when you follow up with someone, you are doing them a favor. You're not bothering them, you are doing them a courtesy. And I will say, I like to follow up as a courtesy. I will tell people, I know I'm not at the top of your priority list. Like, especially if you don't know someone that well, you know, they don't care about Kristine, you know, we met last month on Instagram or, you know, they were a customer lead or, you know what I'm saying? So like, well, that's something else I do too.
If you guys have ever bought something from like Arbonne or whoever, whatever, like how many times someone will message you and be like, hey, how was your order? I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. I'm so glad they messaged me.
Yeah.
And then that's how I think. I don't think like, unless I can tell their messages are super spammy, but otherwise I'm like, oh crap, I totally forgot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
There was another
so
coach.
True. I had someone message me last week.
Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
On the follow-up note, there was a coach who's done a call a couple times, but she always says, I follow up till either one of us dies or they block me. Or they say
Danny.
Yeah, Danny says that.
Is that Danny that says that? Yeah, I know. I've heard her say that. Yeah. I love it. I've heard her say that more than once. Yeah. Think about it. And like, that's funny. Like you take the pressure off, but it's like, they know they need this. And it is our job to remind them why they need this. And you can say, I heard you the first time. Something else that I ask sometimes too, and this is how I got like, she's probably the most successful coach I've had, is when we had our very first conversation, I asked her, how do you feel now? How do you want to feel? What are you willing to do to get there? And she's told me that it was like, I just remember certain conversations and she was like, you stopped me in my tracks. And really, so ask questions and that really helps. And that way it comes back, that you can say, you know, when it comes like crunch time, if we're at crunch time now and you need to hit Success Club, you told me in May, blah, blah, blah. It is almost September. Let's make this happen. Come on. And don't be afraid. Like, yeah. Did I answer that question or did I just get off on a massive, horrible tangent?
It doesn't matter. It was all gold. So okay, we'll take the tangent.
My focus is horrible.
Oh, no, this is such good stuff. It's like, I don't like to use the word one-liners, but it is. It's sometimes we get so in our head and we're like, I don't even know what to say, but you say it so simply. And that's a good reminder.
And something else too, that I mean, and like, I'm happy to answer any questions, but another thing too, talking about one-liners, and we talked about this on the SC100 panel. Ashley Molstead did a video. Oh my gosh. I don't know how many years old it was. I don't even know if I can find it now, but she just basically talked about when you're inviting that, and she talked about, I guess she loves or loved Taylor Swift, and was like, if Taylor Swift is coming to your if it's coming to your town, you want to go to the concert, you're going to call your friends. You're going to be like, girl, you're going with me. That simple. So when you're doing your invites, and all three of us on this panel that spoke said the exact same thing. We didn't know what we were saying. We didn't know the questions were. Each and every one of us said the exact same thing. You just go to people and say, why don't you do this with me? If you know the person personally, you need to do this with me. Come on, do this with me. I just signed as a new coach. Tell them I signed up. I do not know what I'm doing at all, but I want you to do this with me. Say it's your best friend. You think they should be a coach with you. I'm clueless. Let's figure it out together. Do this with me. Or inviting people to, your boot camp or whatever it is. Do this with me. And like we all three said the exact same thing. That's the invite. Do this with me. I know it sounds crazy.
It's all gold. I love it. But I think that's especially gold for new coaches. Like I typed, like it's just, you're just telling your bestie, like you're doing this.
Yeah.
I know that was me as a new coach. I shared on your call last week. I was just like referring my friends left and right to my coach because I was like, loving it. And she's like, you fool, just be a coach. I was like, nah, I got time for that. Oh, well, thank you.
Funny.
So
I like.
Yeah. Do you guys have any more questions?
You're welcome.
Or open up. Do you have anything else?
Oh, she froze. Are you there?
Oh, did I freeze? Sorry. I was just saying if anybody had any other questions.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good now.
Hop on. Well, that was gold. I need to go. I'm going to go right after this and just like type this all out and brain dump myself. But thank you so much, Kristine.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Yes,
absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you guys. Thank you.
Hey, and good luck to your husband. Send me his Instagram because I want to follow him so I can make sure he's doing his stuff.
Oh, honey, he's not even there yet. Oh God. I'll get on. I will. Thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a great night, Kristine. Bye.
Bye.